guest. Hey.
Welcome to Hey.
There's our guest.
Welcome to I Bet You Think This podcast is about you. And this is episode 9. And as you can hear, we have a guest on the line, Elizabeth Shaw. Say hi, Elizabeth.
Hello, everyone.
Just a little preamble here, just to remind everyone. We are not mental health experts, and we don't pretend to be mental health experts. And we are just regular people. This is our own personal experience. So,
Yes.
Go ahead and introduce. Oh, wait.
The name. What's the name?
You do it.
Oh, God.
Girl, you do it.
So I'll say the name, but really this is S's idea. Well, all these ideas are like a combination of the two of us, but this is her thing. So the title of this episode 9, is called The Morning After.
Never fun.
How to sober up after a narcissistic hangover. And for those of you who have been in a relationship with narcissistic people, you know exactly what we're talking about, and it sucks. So how I found Elizabeth Shaw, I'm trying to think of exactly where it all started, but probably I think I owe it to some level of Facebook stalking, because I know that's how I saw her posts, and I was like, man, everything that she's saying is just so perfect. And she would have these really well-written blogs. And somewhere along the way, I saw something on her Facebook feed that kind of mentioned something about doing like a free 15-minute call to kind of evaluate, because one of the things that Elizabeth does, and she'll go into this specifically, is she has sort of a specialization or niche in narcissistic recovery coaching. That's at least how I experience it. And so I was like, I'm going to do this 15-minute call and just get her take on my experiences and see if this would be a good thing for me. And I just absolutely adored her. I think not only is she extremely intelligent, she's just so kind-hearted, and I just thought she was excellent. And so I thought, man, she should really come on the show. And she's going to give us an idea of the types of different narcissistic personality disorders. And then also something that I've really wanted to share on the show, or just kind of talk about, is the types of people that these narcissists tend to target as victims, because S and I were both victims. And I'm just kind of thinking along the way, like, how did they choose me? And how did I fall into this crap for so long? And so I think that, we can hopefully shed some light on how they go about sort of specific, or what word am I trying to say? Specifically choosing, certain types of people. I'm just curious about that. So Elizabeth, if you want to go ahead and start off and just tell us a little bit about kind of what you're comfortable with sharing about your personal story and how you got into doing what you do.
Hello. Yes, thank you for that introduction. Very kind of you. My personal story is I've had 3 different types of narcissistic people in my life. First was my own father, not that I knew at the time. He's not high end on the spectrum. He does show very low levels of empathy, and he is the kind of narcissist that you can, as long as you don't listen to his words and as long as you just observe what he's doing and don't absorb, you can limit your time and handle your time with him. But obviously he then, from growing up, he taught me to accept certain patterns of behaviour that you shouldn't accept, because I didn't know any different. Mm-hmm. So then when I met my first husband and married him, there was things that was not quite right, and you can't quite put your finger on it. But because of how you're raised, you think, you accept it when you shouldn't accept it.
Mm-hmm. It feels normal, right? To a degree. Does it feel kind of like sort of almost like comfortable?
Yes, you just assume that's how people are, even though that's not how you are, and it doesn't quite feel right. You can't, as you know, when you're in it, you can't quite work out what's happening and what your instincts are trying to tell you is happening. Mm-hmm. But I still didn't. He's more mid-range. He wasn't physically violent or anything like that. He he would throw tantrums and he would throw things.
What is that? They always throw shit.
Yeah, most of them like to throw things.
Yeah, well, that's so weird. I've never thrown anything in my life.
Well, because aren't they like 2-year-olds in adult bodies? And don't 2-year-olds like to throw things around?
Yeah,
maybe that's kind of why.
Mm-hmm.
Little temper tantrums.
They are little toddlers in adult bodies that when they don't get their own way, just throw tantrums.
Yeah.
To try and get their own way. And because we emphasize with other people and connect and care about with other people, we then try and relate and help them.
Yeah.
So we're actually harming ourselves by doing so, but we just don't realize it at the time.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I still didn't realize it with him.
So when did you have your epiphany? So did you have like narcissist number 3 who was like full blown terrible? Who was that?
Narcissist number 3. Well, I got out from narcissist number 2 to have 5 glorious years on my own. And I am quite grateful for narcissist number 2 because he taught me a few things to actually stand up for myself for. So when I met narcissist number 3, he actually comes under... He's a narcissist with a mix of antisocial personality disorder and a mix of psychopath personality disorder in there somewhere. Not that I realised at the time, but you see things like when I first met him, it was same story, very quick involvement, all the love bombing and idolization and soulmates, and moved into my house really, really fast.
Oh, your house, not his, right?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course, he moved into my house with lots of lies about that I didn't realise at the time. Although there is some where they will get you, if they're wealthy, they will get you to move into their house quick, give up your house, give up your job, and sink you that way. He moved in really quick, and it kind of just went from there. You know, when you can't, there's things that just don't feel right with them, but you can't work out what it is. You just cannot work out what. Now, when he moved in, within a few weeks, he wanted us to move areas. He wanted me to move far away from family.
Ooh.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, they trying to isolate you.
Yeah.
But I had to leave the ex-husband's house, you see, and move the children out of the ex-husband's house. So because I had to do that, and I'd already lost a home, so to speak, and the children were settled where we are, I did actually stand firm on that. And because we'd only just met, he did try to push it, but not too much, because he didn't want to give himself away yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm quite grateful that I had the experience of the ex-husband, because although I didn't realise what was happening, it meant that I didn't I did get in deep, but it meant that I didn't move miles away from everybody, so I still had a bit of a support network around.
So tell me, did you ever have an epiphany moment where it hit you like a ton of bricks that he was a psychopath?
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Yes, I did. There's an awful lot of background that went on with him, an awful lot of things that happened, and then we split up a few years ago, and within a couple of days he'd moved in with a lady across the street.
He didn't even go far.
No, he didn't go far. Which then I found out this is what he did to his ex, but with his ex he moved into her next door neighbours.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently he doesn't like to
that
travel.
Charming? Like how? What? Really?
Well, it gets worse because I'm in court at the moment, so I'm trying to get evidence from people, and I've just spoken to one of my neighbours who's informed me that he left a note on her car.
He put notes on their car? That's how he wooed them?
Oh my goodness.
That's insanity.
He's done it to a few ladies on the same road as me, and some of them were married.
Oh my God.
It's not just one of them. There's a few of them. The amount of things that
He basically he put it out like a flyer for house painting.
Oh my gosh.
Want a new boyfriend? It could be me.
he just, and one of them fell for it, which they are. I mean, the one that fell for it was single, and they are.
Do you ever wonder what went through her head? She just pulled that flyer up. She's like, I'm in the mood for a boyfriend right now. I'll call this guy.
But so did she know you? So she knew you?
No.
Oh.
No, we didn't actually. We'd only ever say hello to each other. We didn't actually know each other.
Oh, wow.
Well, do you know what she said to her to like get her to actually
close the deal?
Do that?
Probably the same things that he told me about his ex and how crazy she was.
Oh, well, right.
Of course.
That's what they always say.
And yeah, probably just fed her all the lies that they like to feed, and she obviously has a caring heart and took pity on him. And well, he was single when I met him, you see. Well, saying that, he might not have been. He claimed to be single.
Right. You can never quite be sure.
No, he did claim to be single. I knew he wasn't with his child's mother because she'd got a new partner and another child. So I knew that relationship was over.
Right.
And he claimed to be single. But whether he was or not, we don't know that information anymore, do we, about these people?
No.
Anyway, the epiphany, he then came back 5 months later wanting us to give it another go.
Seriously?
Which I said no, and he moved in with his parents. But we had children together, so we co-parented. And then move it along another 18 months, and the lady across the road has his child.
What?
Oh, my gosh.
That he had completely ignored for 9 months.
Seriously?
Completely ignored her.
This is unbelievable.
He stood there in front of me. Well, I'd had like a 2-year sort of break from him, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Got a bit more reality back. But because he was struggling to get somewhere to live, he was playing nice.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually stood there in front of me and said, "It's your fault I've got a child across the road because you wouldn't let me move back in here."
Of course, it's your fault. Of course it's your fault. It's your fault that he, oh my gosh.
What? And global warming is your fault.
Oh my God.
Serious?
That's unreal. Yeah, I would actually think that was unbelievable, except I think we've all heard the same thing. Very similar types of things.
Unbelievable, but you have to get to the point where you've woke up with it to realise how unbelievable it is.
Oh,
but
yeah.
he topped it off quite nicely with, we can get back together and get married and have another baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That wait, he suggested that to you?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a prize, clearly. Who wouldn't want to procreate with that?
It just went, my mind went into a bit of a whirlwind, but I still did not get it. Now, I used to call him Narky when we were together.
So you kind of got it a little.
You're so funny.
There was something that, and there's a lot of people that do tell me that they call them like leeches or like I did Narky. They call them certain words, so you do kind of get it without getting it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until he wouldn't introduce our children to his new son, which I found a bit odd.
Wow.
And I was a bit like, yeah, but they want to meet the baby brother, so let them meet. Because it wasn't great, it was a bad place, but I was also in a good place because I'd realised how better off I was without him.
Yeah.
Now,
so you have this epiphany at this point, or does it take even more? Like, when do you hit the whole, like, you're sick to your stomach and you want to die because you just realize that this person who you have kids with is a psychopath?
It wasn't. It's only recently that I've realised he's actually got psychopath traits as well.
What was the differentiating? Like, what made him, like, what were the narcissistic traits versus the psychopathy traits? Like, what made you think, okay, this is definitely psychopathy versus narcissism, even though there's kind of a blend?
Well, they are very similar traits, and they do overlink each other, so to speak. But when it comes to narcissistic people can be aggressive, and they can be selfish, and they can be impulsive, which are all the psychopath traits. And now a psychopath isn't always what you see portrayed on TV, you see. So it's a little bit, but it was actually the court case that made me realise that he's got psychopath, because we didn't even hang him any rope. He just hung himself completely.
Really?
He just absolutely so aggressive. So he just I'll get into that in a minute. The epiphany was when my son said to me, burst into tears and said he wanted to die. So still thinking Dad was a normal person at this point.
Yeah.
I phoned his dad up for help.
Uh-huh.
To which I got, you're crazy, you're infecting his mind,
Seriously.
you're a bad influence. I'm phoning, we call them, I don't know if you call them social services over there, child services.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm phoning social services on you, all the rest of it. And I was a bit like, I've just phoned up for a bit of help. Well,
Oh my gosh.
I just burst into tears because I've got my son crying. So I just burst into tears and hung up the phone. And then I just sat there and thought, you're phoning social services on me?
Yeah.
And then it all started to click, what had gone off with his son, what my children were like, things that had happened, and it all just started to click. And then I don't know what it was, but I decided to Google the term narky. Came up with narcissist.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was going through the things, I'm like, oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
See, I had
Yeah.
I used to liken it to, and I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but I had an epiphany moment where I felt like someone over time had been throwing like puzzle pieces toward me, and they were upside down and backward, and like the box had been shaken up. And I had a moment where it's like that puzzle just put itself together. And I was like, holy shit, you are a sociopath. And I was on the phone and I was like, are you a sociopath? You are. And he didn't even deny it. I was like, oh my God. I was shaking. My whole body was shaking. I was like sweating. I'm like, I can't get far enough away from this human being at this point in time, because it scared the hell out of me. And I'm like, how did it take so long of all of these little tiny bits and pieces dropping into my lap for me to finally put together that this person was like, literally had no conscience and no moral compass. He just did whatever the fuck he wanted for whatever reason he wanted. It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, we look at friends of ours and people we know in the same situation, and I'm just like, don't you see what's happening? Yeah. Don't you see? And they don't.
No,
they don't. And
right.
I'm like, you'll get it sooner or later. And when you do, you're going to want to die because you can't believe it happened to you.
That's probably the trauma bonding.
Yeah.
That is so true, though. You can see it now so clearly in other people, but you can't go and say anything because they've got to kind of work it out for themselves. Well, it's like him. He is within a week of the baby. He then moved back in across the road.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody should have him sterilized, by the way.
No kidding.
Like,
all of them.
How many kids does he have?
4.
Oh, poor kids. Well, yeah.
4. There's 2 with 4 that we know about.
Well, that's
true.
a very good point.
He did used to comment, I wonder if I've got children I don't know about. And they usually do, slyly.
Oh, first of all,
absolutely.
Yeah, when they pontificate like that, and they say, I wonder if there's something always going on. Like, when he says that, there probably are. He knows there's more kids he doesn't know about.
Yeah. And when you stand there thinking, what are you actually, because you don't know at the time, so you're just thinking, that's a very odd comment to come out with.
Yep. Aren't they? They are such the kings of odd, weird comments that literally mean everything if you're only paying attention.
But I've been curious about that. Do you think, Elizabeth, that they kind of sort of want to be figured out? Like there's this deep inner freaking child wound that's sort of like, come save me, come help me from, because so many narcissists that I've known, I'm like, you're basically telling me who you are.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The stuff
I've had
that
that
they say,
experience.
I'm like,
oh, yeah.
You're kind of telling me you're a narcissist. Like, they don't say it outwardly, but the things that they say, I'm like, you're giving yourself away. And in my experience, they're usually like intoxicated or like under the influence. So like the mask kind of comes off. But have you experienced that? Do you think that is that a common thing where what are your thoughts on that?
I have two different perceptions on that. My first one is, do some know what they are and they just find it funnier that they are giving you clues?
Yes. Yep.
You can't work it out.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Or is it all part of they don't actually know who they are, but they don't consciously know who they are, but they subconsciously know who they are.
Oh.
Yeah.
Their subconscious tells you without actually meaning to.
You know what?
I love that.
I think it's a little bit of both. And and I'm going to propose a number 3 because this is when I look back and I think about it. I'm like, I think dropping those little hints on me that he was basically a sociopath in like water torture, right? It was one drop at a time. And I think he was thinking, how far can I push her and how much can I reveal? And she still stays with me.
Yeah.
And so, she put up with, X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to give her another thing and another thing and another thing. And it's like conditioning you. They're conditioning you to accept things that are not normal, and those aren't normal things for people to say, but everybody says it's something weird and off base once in a while. Mm-hmm. And I think they're seeing how much they can get away with and how much you'll put up with and you'll still stay. You'll still stick around.
Entertaining to them.
Yeah.
Do it so slowly they get in the first place.
Yep.
Slowly take you down.
Yep.
Rather than, because if you went on the first date with them and they sat there and actually said, oh, I'm going to throw food at you and I'm going to cheat on you and you'd be like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do that. They draw you in. You actually feel like you've met your soulmate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what do you think those early signs are that that we all should have looked for, and we ignored? What do you think?
The major red flags are one, wanting to move in with you really quick, or wanting you to move in with them really quick.
Yeah.
Flattery, not compliments.
Mm-hmm.
More flattery, and they're saying it in a way so that you give them something back.
Can I make a comment on that, Elizabeth? Because the last narcissist that I was in a relationship with, hopefully, I hope it's the last ever, he would flatter me, but things that he didn't even know about me. Like, he'd be like, you're so fill in the blank.
Yes.
Smart. You're so this. And I'm like, but we haven't even really had any form of intellectual conversation. Like, the things he'd flatter me on were things he didn't really actually know yet. So I'm like, how is he saying that? But I was like, well, thanks. At the time, I'm like, well, but it's weird because I don't know if they just choose like blanket things that you would flatter someone for.
Yeah.
But
that's what they think you want to hear.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Because he had more degrees than me, and so he probably thought that. But anyway, I'm sorry. Keep going. Other signs.
Yeah. Over communication. So constantly messaging.
Yeah.
Constantly ringing. Not all of them do this because it depends how many they're trying to suck in, but some will have more than one social media account.
Oh, so, yeah.
On one social media account, they will absolutely constantly put loving things up, or they'll constantly put loving things on your social media account.
Yep.
Wow.
And they love social media. They love it. It's all a facade. They just friggin' love putting crap out there. Yeah.
But have you noticed,
A lot of them-
is it two different names, or like how do they create the two separate? Are they two different personas, or how do they create the separate social media accounts?
I believe from one person I've spoken to, they use different names, but not all of them do that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Some of them do use the same name. Some of them will, like when they're going through the devalue stage, some of them will shut down the social media account. So you
Oh, really?
shut it down.
I know that.
Have another one.
I know exactly what that. Yeah. Yes. They totally do that.
So they shut down their original account, so you can't access them, right? Because
And then they open a new one.
You're going crazy.
Mhm.
I open a new one.
And then they're like, I don't have any social media. And then boom, there's their name again. You're like, huh, weird. That's new.
Some actually do that early on in the relationship. I'm not sure if they've worked out that people think about the social media thing, but some do early on in the relationship go on about how they are not interested in social media and they don't go on social media whatsoever. Or it could be they've actually only got one social media and their loving wife knows all about it, so they don't want you knowing anything about it.
Yep. Right, because there's never just one person involved with them.
Right.
Ever.
No, they've always got to have somebody there. So another thing that they do is how they treat other people.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but most of them. Is sometimes you have to listen really closely to how they're talking about other people, how they talk, whether they come across quite jealous and envious.
Yes.
Even things like in a restaurant or if there's a queue somewhere, how agitated they get quickly over having to wait for something, even if you're only waiting a couple of minutes.
Yep.
And then
So in
how they talk about exes.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they're all
They're all
crazy.
crazy.
All the exes are crazy. I noticed a lot of just hyper competitiveness. It was, so and so thinks they're better than me. I'm like, how do you know what he thinks, right? Has he done anything to you? Has he said anything to you? No, but I just know because he drives this great car and he's better than I am. And I'm like, that is just bizarre. Like, you barely know that guy, right? And just super competitive in every single aspect of their lives, professionally and personally. And it's just, it gets to the point where it's distasteful.
And you've also got the ones that aren't, you've also got the ones that haven't actually achieved, but are still competitive. More the victim narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
They will, they might not even have a job, or they'll have a low end scale job. Not that there's anything wrong with them jobs, but they'll never build themselves up, and they will always blame other people. They will either blame, saying that they're not going to suck up. No, they've only got the job. I'm not sucking up to the bosses just to do that. So they will blame other people as to why they haven't achieved something.
Yep.
Somebody else has. So you'll get the ones that are the big achievers and have to be bigger and better than everyone else, but you'll also get the ones that aren't, but have to still twist it around to why it's somebody else's fault.
Yeah, and the disproportionate rage, right? So something that would maybe make you or I like a little annoyed, they'll flip out.
Yep.
And you're like, holy shit, what's happening right now?
Yeah,
They're just
true.
raging. And it's just... That should have been a red flag. For me, is I look back and I'm just like, holy shit! Like, you are so livid over the dumbest thing ever.
Is that sort of the same too? Are these characteristics, or these warning signs? Is this like does it go the same for coverts and overts? Like, do they do similar things? Are overts or coverts, are they a little bit more like subtle?
Yes, the thing is with overts are a lot more obvious with how they say things, and coverts are, for example, if you're with the put downs of things that you're wearing, an overt would say to you, you look fat in that, or you look thin in that, or you look, whatever insult they want to pass off, they
Yeah.
will just say it outrightly. Whereas a covert will turn around to you and say, are you really going to wear that?
Yeah.
Ugh.
They'll not directly put it in there. They'll just put that little seed in your mind and let it grow from there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd rather deal with a covert because I could just tell them to fuck off a lot easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The
Like, it's just like, fuck you.
yeah.
If they're so obvious.
Yeah. They're both tough, though.
They
you know.
are.
What is the answer to, are you really going to wear that? Fuck off. Yeah,
Right.
of course I am.
Well, I guess
It's on my body, isn't it, asshole?
Sure am.
I really am wearing
Sure
it.
am.
So how do you make yourself a less easy target? Because I think, you were telling your story and you have 3 people in your past who are narcissists, or at least somewhere on that spectrum. And I know I have multiple. I know has multiple. So, what are we doing? For lack of a better word, like, what are we doing wrong? Why are we such easy and good targets for these individuals?
Well, I think one thing is, which is actually another red flag for these people, is the fact that we don't like to say no to people.
Yeah.
We don't like to say no. And to be honest, even those people that do start off in the relationship saying no, they find that a challenge. So
Yeah.
even if it's just, oh, I'll come and pick you up tomorrow and I've got plans with this, so they will just slowly pick away to try and get you. And I think the ones that say no to begin with do try to break that down.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us that don't say no to begin with and try and please them, they find that an easier target. So I think either way with that, they either find it a challenge or an easy target.
Well, and it's a good test too. So if early on when because I'm that way. I don't know about you, Emma, but I don't say no that much. I think I've been conditioned in many different ways to just sort of be a yes person, and it's partially the way I was raised. It was partially professional. That I have to do things I don't normally or wouldn't normally want to do, and it's just that's who I've become. But one of the warning signs early on is when you have to say no because you literally can't, be in 2 places at once, or there's something you literally can't do and you say no, you either get rage or you get shock. I remember getting shocked. Like, literally, the phrase said to me was, but you never say no to me.
Ugh.
I'm like, I don't. That's true. Holy shit. Well, and now is the time I'm going to.
Right.
And it's just like, they don't even know what to do with that.
Did you get the silent treatment after that?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah. Right. Yep. That's So basically what you're saying is if people have sort of difficulty, and I do think it's a little bit harder for women just from a societal standpoint and how most of us are raised, not everyone. So if people have difficulty putting up boundaries, is that what?
Yes, and it does come from, they are attracted to people with empathy. So people that can relate to other people, see other people's perceptions, put themselves in someone else's shoes. And it is to do with and we go to them, we have to work on our own individual, it's called an attachment system, which is a neurobiological bond that we create with other people. So when we're born, we often get that bond with our primary caregivers because we need to be fed and changed and loved because the baby can't do anything for itself. So you connect with your mother if it's your mother that's doing it all, and it opens it up. And even if your mother is a narcissist, because they are physically taking care of your needs, that empathy can still actually be opened up and cause that attachment system. So when you do meet people, if you've got the empathy and you can relate to people, that attachment system just opens up and you just feel for them and you just care about them and you can just relate to them. And a lot of them not all of them, but some of them do that woe is me. So you want to try and help them and you want to try and raise them up. Some of them are extremely confident. So if you're not as confident, you kind of look up to them to bring out that confident side of you, even though it's just an act to them. But you look to them to bring that confident side of you out. But it can also be the same if you got emotional neglect as a child. So if you didn't have that love from your parents and you've got that disconnect from your own emotions, so because you didn't get your emotions validated from your parents, when it comes to other people, you get your own emotions validated by helping other people. So they do look for people. They look for people who people please and who don't demand too much of other people, and that want to help other people out and do care about other people. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with being like that, but it is a case of just learning the signs of what you're dealing with and not connecting to them too early on, not giving too much away, not giving too much emotions away, because good people, as you know yourself, you would respect someone not giving too much of themselves.
Right.
Away.
Right. Well, I know, but, part of me is like, one of the things I like about myself is I'm pretty open, right? Yeah. I'm open and I generally try to see the best in people. And you don't want to let one experience or two or whatever from individuals like this get to you and change who you are, right? So you want to stay who you are in one respect, but you also want to have like your narcissist shield up in the other respect, And it's like you're walking a tightrope.
Is why you've got to try and observe more of what is actually happening, the stories that they're telling you from the past.
Yeah.
There is people that may have cheated once and made a mistake, but they will feel extremely bad about it. And if you can pick up the true emotions and the true things of what they're saying.
If you could give the top 3 things to look for in a narcissist, which you've already touched on that, but if you could just do the top 3 things, I'd love to hear that. And then the top 3 things that people can do to be kind of a repellent. Like, what are the 3 things that a narcissist would be like, oh, fuck this, this person isn't going to work for me. Boundaries is probably one of those. Could you give like 3 examples?
My top 3 things would be when you first have to say no to them. And I don't mean just say no for the sake of saying no. If something doesn't feel right or if something doesn't sit right with you, within yourself, then it is a no. Now, there is people that are good people that might be a bit, oh, come on, it'd be depending whatever it is, but then they would drop it. They would just simply drop it. They would respect you, but they wouldn't go off sulking with the silent treatment. They'd drop it. They'd realise that's a boundary of yours, and they would accept, like we do when people say no. We accept that that's who they are. So that's a big one for me. Too good to be true is another big one. Too good to be true. Also, one of the things I found with mine is, it sounds like a pet.
We all
everybody talks that way.
Yeah.
With my psychopath.
I wish it was just a dog. It'd be so much easier if it was just a dog that had a personality disorder.
It's like, put this dog out of his misery.
One of the key things to recovery is having a sense of humour. You have got to keep some sense of humour to get through this.
Oh my God, totally.
So true.
You've just got to. But one of the things I found, I don't think it's mentioned too much, is just feeling odd around them, but not knowing why.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So, this is so
interesting.
important right now because I literally just had an experience with a friend or a friend of a friend who I drove back from a distance. So she was in my car for a while and she's going through this right now. And she's like, I don't know what to think. I can't figure it out. It just doesn't add up. Things don't add up. And I'm like, just be done. She's like, yeah, but I got to figure out why I feel that way. I'm like, I'm going to tell you right now. Once you figure out what it is, you're going to wish you didn't know.
Yep.
Right? Just get the fuck away. Just leave. If things are nothing he says adds up and just things seem off or weird, just be done because something's wrong. Something's wrong there.
And you're never going to figure it out with him or her in your presence. You got to get away. You got to have distance.
In your ear telling you stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I see myself in her and I'm like, look, it's so hard. I know it's so hard, but you just have to basically jump off the cliff and hope that someone catches you because you got to get rid of him and you have to go no contact and you're going to wake up and now it's the morning after. And you're an addict and you're addicted to this dude and you're like, fuck me, my life is terrible because all I want to do is talk to him because he's what makes me feel better because I'm marginalized from everybody else and he's my sole support system now. And what do you do then? I mean, I know you mentioned having a sense of humor, which you totally have to have. How do you wake up the morning after and say, I'm going to get through this? I mean, sometimes I've seen circumstances where you have no other choice, right? Like the dude goes off to jail. And so now you get that breather, right? But when he's still calling you 24/7 and driving by your house and calling and texting, I love you, take me back, like how... Once you realize and have that epiphany moment that they're a sociopath, what do you do? What do you how do you get through the hangover?
The very first thing that I say to people that are trauma bonded and they are like my ex did, I'd already managed to work through that. But if I hadn't have worked through that, obviously I'd have been able to give him the perfect opportunity to triangulate us both because he wanted me. He didn't want me. He wanted to use me.
He wanted what you gave him, yeah.
Well, if I was still in that trauma bonding phase, I'd have probably gone, okay, because you're still here and you've chose me, even though he would be with her as well.
Yep.
And it'd have been crazy. So the first thing, I think, once you realise if you are still in that trauma bonding phase, is you have, and it's hard, but you have got to sit there and you have got to write every single negative thing that ever happened.
Oh my God, I did that. I did that.
Are you still writing it?
No, you know what I did? I said, S, you're going to write a pro and con list about this motherfucker. And it was all cons.
That's like cons.
I was like, wait a second.
Bro.
Does anybody
Nothing.
have any pros?
No.
Anybody have any
You know what, though? Can I just say this? What I see a lot in some of the forums on Facebook is that the sex is really good.
It's the sex.
I do.
There's one pro.
Like the sex is
cons.
phenomenal. Or they're just like, but the love bombing, he was so amazing in the beginning, and is this really who he is? And
yeah, but that's gone by that time. By the time you're making the pro-con list.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, a lot do blame themselves, and because they blame themselves, because of the highs and lows, and because they can't play nice, because they twist it all around onto being you actually think that you are the problem.
Yep.
Yes.
And then you up your game to be nice, to try and figure it out and work it out so that will reinforce that you were the problem by playing nice again. And
How many times have you found yourself apologizing for something that you know you didn't do? You know you're not the problem, and you're like, okay, he lies to you, and you're like, hey, you're a liar. Why'd you lie to me? And at the end of the conversation, you're apologizing, and you're like, what the fuck has just happened? I'm apologizing in a situation where I didn't do anything wrong.
I dread to think how many times I have apologized and then afterwards think, what just happened?
Yes.
That wasn't even the conversation we was talking about.
Oh, that's the word salad, when they just start talking and saying words because they want to just scramble everything up to put you off your game.
Oh, yeah. Right. So because we probably need to wrap up pretty soon here. I want you definitely, Elizabeth, to share a little bit about kind of your coaching program and how you can help people. Is there anything else that you want to say, though, that, like, let's say someone is in the beginning of a relationship and right now and they feel something's a little bit off, but maybe they're being love bombed or they're just not quite sure. Are there any, like, questions or things that we can do to ask someone who may be a narcissist, like anything that we can do? Just maybe two things that, besides the boundaries, what else, maybe one or two things that we could do to sort of help us determine what we're dealing with?
You really have got to pay attention to the words and the stories that they are telling you, which if you haven't been in that kind of relationship, it is incredibly hard to stop. But once you have been in that kind of a relationship, you'll just sense it when they're saying things to you. But asking them about exes, asking them about exes is one of the biggest things to actually ask them stuff, is asking them about exes. Or if you're watching some sort of TV program and there's something sad on it that would pull at your heartstrings, kind of watching how they actually react and whether it's a true reaction or not. Another thing I have found with quite a few, and I'm not saying there's plenty of normal, healthy people that like watching horror movies and dark programs, but there seems to be a lot of connection with narcissistic people that like those kind of graphic details.
Interesting.
I like that. Thank you. That's a new thing.
That is interesting. Because that hits home for me. No, that hits home because
Is it?
No, I used to give the line all the time. Like I can't watch this movie. Like I'll have nightmares. I won't be able to sleep for a week. Why would I watch that? It's not entertaining to me. He's like, oh come on, it's great. It's just a movie.
Wow.
Yeah. Huh. So go ahead.
Light bulb moments. I keep getting those light bulb moments even now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Things you'll have like flashbacks and be like, ooh, that was, there was a red flag that I just went and, totally pretended I didn't see. Elizabeth, can you talk a little bit about, real quick, just to wrap up, kind of, your coaching program? I love that it's so specialized and you just, as I think everyone can tell if they're listening to you, you're amazing. Can you talk a little bit about what you do?
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say. Well, you see, a part of it, I do find a lot of recovery. Part of it is finding out about them and what they actually did and piecing reality back together. And I do find most often people do have to just find at least one person to actually talk it all out with.
Yeah.
Who can make, because although it makes sense in your own head, you can't make sense of it in your own head. So you do need to some people need to get it out more than once, but you do need to just speak to someone to explain it all, and someone that understands, someone that can actually say, yes, that happened to me, yes, you're right, no, you are right within what you're saying, they are definitely in the wrong, and you just need to clear that. But then it is all about finding your sense of humour on it and working on you and working on your needs and breaking away from that trauma bond. Learning about things like your human needs to create new passions and new dreams for your... Have you heard of Tony Robbins?
Yes.
He does all about the human needs, and I mean, I don't think he's ever done anything connected to narcissistic people and human needs. But if you listen to what he explains about human needs and the fact that if you do something that hits all three, you become addicted. And within a narcissistic relationship, you are actually hitting all six of them.
Yeah.
It's highly addictive. So you are, as well as the hormones that your body releases from all the highs and lows. That's addictive, and to lose your addiction on one drug, you've kind of got to get addicted to something else, but you've got to get addicted to positive things.
Right.
Connecting with people to fill human needs up and finding things that fills those human needs up in other ways, in positive ways. But a lot of people don't understand things like your human needs and even your love languages. People don't understand the different love languages to truly connect within themselves. You've got to truly learn about yourself and who you are. And most of us want to carry on being that caring, kind, loving person, but we don't want them to change us.
Right.
But we don't want other people to take advantage.
Well, and as someone who's been through it, I think what you're doing in the coaching is really, really important. I'll just touch on one of the things you said is just finding someone to be able to talk about it. So, S&M found each other,
mm-hmm.
right? And it was crazy after that whole thing, came to fruition. Now we have a podcast, but, just getting out of the fog and saying some of these things out loud. And then you realize for the first time in years or months or however long it's been, how absolutely crazy this shit is and how it's really affecting you and how it's not normal and that the way that they've been treating you is completely abnormal and completely abusive and terrible. And you're like, wow, for the first time in my life, I actually said something out loud and the reaction from someone was like, holy crap, that's not normal.
Right.
And you're like, what? If only I had spoken to somebody sooner.
Yep.
And so I think that work that you're doing is super important.
One of the things that I find, though, is you do have to start pulling in and finding the things in life to be grateful for. You have to start working on your emotions and leaving it all in the past, but at the same time so that you can speak about it with that sense of humour, so it no longer draws on those negative emotions, so it draws on those positive emotions.
Yeah.
And one of the most incredible things I do find is the amount of online people that you've never met that live across the other side of the world from you, that you can just connect with and relate to, people that you just would never speak to if you hadn't have lived that experience. And I think it, as toxic and as horrible it can be to go through, after you've come out of it all, the people that you get to meet that you would not have met if you hadn't have lived it, is just incredible. And you have to hold on to especially if you're just coming out of it, you have to hold on to who you're about to meet and who you're about to become and how great life will be. And it's hard at the time. I know it's incredibly hard at the time. But shifting yourself back out of that woe is me. Why is this happening to me? Because one of the first things that I say to people is, other than narcissists, when they're in that time frame, who else would you want it to be? You wouldn't want it to be any of your close friends.
Right.
So you need to shift out of that woe is me and that victim mindset. And a lot of people go through it. Not everyone goes through it, but a lot of people do. So you need to bring yourself back out of that mindset.
Yeah.
And it's hard at the time to try and find a positive in a situation like that. It's incredibly hard to find positive. But you do find, and you've got to hold on to that belief, because that's the other thing, changing your beliefs in your mind, because they've programmed your mind in so many different ways. So you have got to throw out all the thoughts that they've planted into your mind, and you've got to start creating your own. And you have got to focus that one day you will find the positive in the situation, and you'll be living in the present again and looking forward to your future.
Yeah.
So, Elizabeth, that was wonderful. You're just so amazing. I wish you were here because I would hug you. I would give you the biggest hug right now.
I'd love to give you a hug.
Oh, you're so amazing.
I guess we have to go to London.
Darn it.
We're on our way.
Okay, direct flight from where we live now. Okay, we do have to. I want to finish on this because you just posted about this before we came on the show, and it was about speaking to your point of people who are maybe just realizing they've been in these horrible situations. We all want revenge, right? We want revenge. We want karma to kick them in their freaking ass. You wrote a post, and you were basically mentioning you want to do it, but you don't. And here's why. So can you give us a very brief synopsis of that post?
I've done a few posts about this because I find, again, it's different perspectives. But it is normal when you are hurt and you are angry and you're realising all the horrible things that someone has put you through to want to seek revenge on somebody. It is perfectly normal and it's a normal, natural response. So there's nothing wrong with wanting to seek revenge on somebody. The thing is, when it comes to seeking revenge, because of who you are and because of how you truly are deep down, if you do go and actually seek revenge on somebody, you are the one that's going to feel worse in the long run.
Yeah, I think they enjoy it because it means that you're still focusing attention on them.
Yep, you feel worse in the long run. Plus, they will find some way to twist it back onto you and make you feel worse. They will find something to just make you hurt even more or more angry. They will just find something. So revenge, as much as you might want to seek it at that point, you're going to then be left with more guilt.
Okay, but just to be very clear here, is it still okay to be happy when bad things happen to them?
Yeah.
Okay, God, thank God. I mean, I just hope. I'm just hoping. I'm not doing anything. I'm just hoping. And then when I get feedback that something bad happened to him, I'm like, cool, I like that. Makes me feel a little better.
I have just lived it this past week in court. He literally hung himself in court, and I have to admit there is still that little part of me.
This makes you happy.
That was, well, it made me happy. There was still that little part of me, though, that was just thinking, you need to shut up now because you're digging yourself in real deep here.
Yes.
I wanted this to happen because I need this to happen for me and my children. So I really need this outcome. And I haven't done anything I didn't do anything to bring it about. Now, I've wrote a few things on how to handle them in court, and that is an absolute must because they are there to win. They do not care. They might show you a leaf. Mine did it. He told me that I wasn't allowed to take the boys on a holiday because of the law that we've got in Britain and asking for permission. And then as soon as the solicitor came in before we went into court to speak to me, and the first thing she said is, "Oh, we'd like to offer you that holiday now."
Oh, really?
He instantly pulled me in with the plain nice.
Yeah.
Instantly pulled me in, and I instantly fell for it.
Yeah.
I was instantly like, oh, this is nice. So,
yeah. Yes, there goes that damn empathy again. There you go.
Yeah.
Think of the things.
Geez, you're so human.
Doing this on purpose. Now, I did actually take my own personal life coach with me because it is different.
Yeah.
Explain it to someone like my life coach does to me and listening and taking it on board is completely different than when it is actually you in the situation.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know what I'm doing. I know I can handle this. I know I can sort this. Well, hey, you come with me.
Yeah, exactly. If you're out, if you happen to be in the
If you happen
neighborhood.
to be around, you want to stop in the courthouse? So, Elizabeth, we probably should wrap up here. Can you just tell people how to find you? How should they find you if they want to do a little free consult with you or just reach out to you and kind of see your awesomeness? How do they find you?
The best way to find me is on the Facebook page, which is Elizabeth Shaw Overcoming Narcissistic Abuse. I know it's titled Overcoming Narcissistic Abuse because it is about overcoming narcissistic abuse.
Well, good name then.
There's a few people that pick up on things. There is trigger posts on there. There is, because it's about explaining all about the disorder, so you've got an understanding. And I know it's awful. Nobody wants to be triggered, but I do like to try and warn people there is trigger posts on there if you're fresh out of it, because you need to learn your triggers so that you can heal your triggers. And then there is the funny post to try and make people laugh.
Yeah.
But that is the best place to find me.
All right. Thank you so much. You've been amazing. Thank you for coming on, and we really appreciate it. And
are we doing Daily High Low today?
Oh,
we missed Daily High Low.
High Low.
You have to do a Daily High Low.
Okay, we're gonna do a high low, Elizabeth. I'll go first.
Do you know what Daily High Low is, Elizabeth?
Is it something that's happened that's been a high in the day and something that's happened that's been a low in the day?
Jackpot, you got it. Exactly.
That's exactly it.
All right. So M is going first. And all right. So
the worst part about this freaking high low is that every time I'm like, God, I have at least 15 lows. And I'm like, why is it so hard for me to search for a high?
People think your life is
what
terrible.
do I have to change in my life
M's
to
life
make
is
my
terrible.
dynamic, like, shouldn't it be balanced? Okay. All right. So I would say that my high today, I have two highs. But okay, the high is that I finally found I'm wearing it right now, but there's a top that I've been looking for like the last 8 months.
Is that it right there?
Yeah, even though it looks like it cost me $5 at a thrift shop because it's falling off of my shoulder. I wanted to have like a top where you show your shoulders. I guess at my age, I'm like, oh, this is like how I'm sexy at my age, right? And I've been trying to find it everywhere. Like I've gone into boutiques and I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. They're like, yeah, we don't have it. So I finally found it and I'm wearing it, but now it two things. Is this
about to turn into a low?
Yeah. See, again, my
it's
high,
the same shirt.
My high is turning into my low here. The low is that I have to wear a strapless bra, which is absolutely, who designed that?
You should just not wear, come on.
Who designed it?
Just don't wear a bra.
It's like every 5 minutes, I'm like, hang on, I just got to make sure it's not down to my freaking waist.
You know who wants you to wear a bra?
Stay up.
The man. The man wants you to wear a bra.
Yeah. It's just it's like embarrassing. And I'm like, well, good. I just got to keep pulling it. Then it keeps going back down. But then the sort of caveat to that low is that it's falling off of my body. It's not staying where it's supposed to be. So now it looks like I'm back into like 1980s and I'm trying out for like an MTV, video. And I
would cast you.
What? Why is that happening? So I tried to be like cool and sexy because I'm not anymore. And I tried to be and then I failed.
Oh, you're cool and sexy.
So high, low, and one shirt.
See? Elizabeth knows.
You're so awesome.
All right. So that's your high and your low is the same shirt.
My high, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wish my high and low were the same thing. So my low, which I'm going to start with, because my high or low sometimes seems to always have something to do with you. So my low, you know this because it just happened. I am at a local bar watching the U.S. women's national team play soccer, which is kind of my high. Like, that's an awesome thing to happen today. And the game was not over. And I had to come here to the studio to record, and the game's still going on. And I get a text message from M that says, I'm tired of driving. Will you pick me up? And I'm like, okay, I'm leaving right now, and I will come get you. I'm on my way. Sent. I hit send, and it went. And then I got in my car and I drove. And by the way, this is like rush hour, and our town has so much construction right now. Yeah, it is like splitting an atom to get anywhere. And so I take all the little back ways and I get over to her
my
place. And I was
gosh.
like, and right before I was to turn left, to turn into her place, friggin' left-hand turn. She's like, never mind, I'm away. Sends me a text. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I call her. She's like, oh yeah, I'm almost there now. And I was like, I told you I was coming to get you.
I will show you my phone when this is over. I never got it.
Lies.
See, I can show you my phone.
All right, well then the internet.
And I
or not
really
the
was
internet.
excited to like sit in the back of your car.
Why?
That would have been my high. Holy shit. Yeah, put my feet up. Play hangman. Whatever. Okay.
Well, I would have been like your Uber driver. It would have been great. But no, I just had to turn right around and come back down.
That was your low? What's your high?
That was my high. I was, whatever.
Wait,
my
that was your high and your low?
No, it wasn't my high. That was just my low.
Okay.
My high may have been watching soccer, which was really fun because they won. And I'm in love with Megan Rapinoe, who's my girl crush of the day today. Because if she could hang out with me, that would be sweet. Megan, are you out there? I'll tell you which color your hair
Doubtful.
next time. It'll be great. My high is, listen, I've had this week that has been, you have had it too. Because by the way, you and I have texted hardly at all this week because we have both been so busy. And it just happens to be right now. It happens to be Friday post work hours.
Yes.
I may have had a whole thing of wine while we were sitting here, which we did announce ahead of time, but whatever. And it's the weekend finally, thank God.
Yes.
And all I want to do, I'm like fantasizing about tomorrow morning when I wake up and I just make myself some coffee.
Yeah.
At like 10, because that's when I'm going to wake up,
Yeah.
And then I can do nothing.
That's amazing.
That's it. Like, you don't even understand how amazing and sort of
that really
decadent
does
that
sound
sounds.
luscious. Are you going to have your coffee still in your bed? Where are you going to have your...
Who's going to bring it to me?
No, you go and get it and then
And go back to bed?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Where
Once
do you
I'm
have
up,
it?
the dog is running around, shit is on. People are, children are asking me for things, and no, I'm up. But
So in your kitchen. That's your answer. Is that where you're going to have your first sip of coffee in your kitchen?
in my kitchen.
Okay, that's all right.
But that's okay. What's your high and low, Elizabeth?
I will start with my low. I finished on a high.
Okay, good.
My low was I had to. Do you call them restraining orders over there? We call them non-molestation orders over here.
Oh, I love no molestation order. That name is way better. But yeah, we call them either personal protection orders in the state we're in or restraining orders.
Yeah, I've got a non-molestation order, which the narcissist nicely caught himself up in knots in court, saying that he'd not done certain things, which was in breach of the non-molestation order, which the judge is still trying to be nice and not thinking too much and just let him think himself, which he did. The judge told me to go and speak to the police because he's breached it yet again.
Uh-huh.
So I went to speak to the police about it because they were all like, that's it, he's going to get locked up now. He will get locked up. This is a major breach. He will get locked up. So I went to speak to the police, and of course, narcissistic people, being as narcissistic as they are, there's a little loophole in it. So that he can't quite get arrested for doing it. But the high is the police officer absolutely tried all he could to try and sort it out and find a way to get him arrested, because he just sat there and because most authorities, especially in Britain, don't quite know what they are yet. But he just sat there describing him as a manipulative, narcissistic psychopath, which was amazing.
That's awesome.
He actually knew what he was.
That's awesome.
And he just turned around to me in the end and said, the judge will have known we couldn't have get him from this, but what the judge will know is that we can prove with this and everything else how much he is manipulating the system and has no respect for the law whatsoever.
Well, that's great.
Although it started off low, it turned into a massive high, and I had a great conversation with that police officer about all sorts of narcissistic people.
Well, at least the outreach is working.
I do have to top that high, though, because it was a great high coming on here and speaking.
Oh, well, thank you. It was wonderful having you.
Yes.
Maybe we'll have you back. We should do that again. Because this has been fantastic. You bet.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And if you haven't listened to any of the prior episodes, check out episodes 1 through 8 on Stitcher or Spotify or iTunes, and check out our Instagram and our Twitter feeds. There's lots of good material there, I think, personally. And if you send us a message or a DM, we will respond to you.